Before you can even think about building a loving relationship with someone else, you must confront the most important relationship of your life, the one you have with yourself. Too often, people enter relationships out of loneliness, desperation, or the need for validation. They believe another person will complete them, but that illusion only leads to disappointment. When you do not know yourself, you unconsciously project your insecurities onto your partner. You demand from them what you have not yet given to yourself, whether it's reassurance, attention, or even a sense of purpose. This is not love, it's dependency disguised as connection. Self-awareness is the foundation of real intimacy. It requires you to ask hard questions. Who am I when no one is watching? What are my patterns in love? What wounds from my past still dictate how I behave today? Without this level of honesty, you become trapped in cycles of toxic attraction, repeating the same mistakes with different faces. When you learn to accept your own flaws, to nurture your own growth, you come into a relationship not as a beggar seeking scraps of affection, but as a whole person capable of giving and receiving love freely. The energy shifts from clinging to sharing, from needing to choosing. So before searching for the right partner, strive to become the right partner, because the truth is simple yet profound. The quality of your relationship with another can never rise above the quality of your relationship with yourself. Romance often gets glorified as the ultimate expression of love, but romance alone cannot sustain a relationship. Passion burns bright, but without respect, it eventually burns out. Respect is the quiet, steady force that holds love together long after the initial excitement fades. When you respect someone, you don't just admire them, you recognize their individuality, their boundaries, and their right to exist as a complete human being outside of your relationship. That is the difference between love that liberates and love that suffocates. Think about it. How many relationships collapse not because of a lack of attraction, but because one person belittles the other, dismisses their opinions, or subtly undermines their worth? Disrespect is like a poison that slowly erodes trust and intimacy. And once respect is gone, love loses its safety, its softness, its ability to nurture. Respect also means accepting differences instead of trying to mold your partner into a version that suits your ego. You do not own the other person. You are choosing to walk beside them. This perspective transforms the relationship from a battlefield of control into a partnership of equals. When respect forms the foundation, romance becomes sweeter, passion becomes deeper, and love becomes unshakable. Without it, everything else is fragile. So if you truly desire a loving relationship, don't just ask, do I love this person? Ask yourself, do I respect them enough to let them be fully themselves? Because without respect, love simply cannot survive. One of the deepest needs in any relationship is the need to feel emotionally safe. Without that sense of security, love becomes fragile, constantly tested by fear, doubt, and games of power. Many people unconsciously sabotage their relationships by creating jealousy, withholding affection, or testing their partner's loyalty. These tactics might feel like control, but in reality, they are signs of insecurity, and insecurity left unchecked suffocates love. Emotional security means knowing that you can express yourself fully without being ridiculed, punished, or abandoned. It's the comfort of sharing your vulnerabilities and your fears and trusting that they will be held with care rather than used against you. When both partners feel this safety, the relationship becomes a sanctuary instead of a battlefield. Intimacy deepens because love no longer has to defend itself, it simply exists. This is why honesty and consistency matter more than charm or surface level attraction. It's not about creating drama to feel alive, it's about creating peace so both people can thrive. True strength in a relationship is not the ability to dominate, but the ability to protect each other's emotional world. When you build emotional security, love transforms. It stops being a temporary rush and becomes a steady presence. And the truth is this: people don't leave relationships where they feel safe. They leave the ones where their hearts are constantly at war. Most people believe they communicate simply because they speak. But real communication goes far beyond words. It is not about how much you talk, but about how deeply you listen. In many relationships, partners hear each other only to defend, to argue, or to prepare their next point. This turns conversations into battlegrounds instead of bridges. A loving relationship cannot survive that kind of exchange. It requires communication that connects, not confronts. True communication is rooted in presence. It means silencing the noise of your ego and truly listening to what your partner is trying to express, even when it is uncomfortable. It means seeking to understand the emotion beneath the words, not just reacting to the surface. When two people practice this kind of mindful dialogue, misunderstandings dissolve before they become conflicts, and small issues are resolved before they turn into walls of resentment. It also requires honesty, saying what you feel without manipulation, and receiving truth without defensiveness. Words are powerful. They can either create distance or deepen intimacy. Every exchange is either building a stronger bond or slowly dismantling it. So ask yourself, are your conversations with your partner a means of proving a point or a way of creating connection? Because when you master communication that heals instead of wounds, your relationship shifts from survival mode to growth mode. And that is where love stops being fragile. It becomes unbreakable. A relationship that does not grow will eventually wither. Love is not meant to be stagnant. It is meant to evolve, to expand, to deepen as both individuals change with time. The problem arises when one partner is committed to growth, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, while the other resists it. This imbalance creates distance because love thrives not just on shared feelings, but on shared direction. Growth in a relationship doesn't mean becoming the same person. It means supporting each other's evolution. It is about challenging one another to rise higher, encouraging dreams instead of limiting them, and celebrating progress rather than fearing change. When two people commit to growing together, they create a dynamic bond, one that adapts instead of breaking under pressure. Think about it. Passion may ignite the spark, but growth sustains the fire. It transforms love from a temporary high into a lifelong journey. Without growth, couples often cling to routine, mistaking comfort for connection, only to wake up one day realizing the love they once had has quietly died. So ask yourself, not only do I love this person as they are, but also, am I willing to grow with them and allow them to grow with me? Because real love is not about holding someone where they are, but about walking with them toward who they are becoming. That's when love matures from fleeting desire into an enduring partnership. Love is often spoken about as if it were an accident, something we fall into, something beyond our control. But real love is not a fall, it is a choice. Feelings may spark the beginning, but feelings alone cannot sustain a relationship. They fluctuate with moods, circumstances, and time. What gives love its power is the decision to nurture it consistently day after day. A loving relationship is not built on grand gestures that happen once in a while, but on the small, intentional acts that communicate care and loyalty. It is the choice to show patience when irritation is easier, the choice to offer kindness when indifference tempts you, the choice to stay committed when challenges arise. These decisions, repeated over time, create trust, and trust is the soil in which love grows. The misconception is that once you find the right person, everything else will be effortless. But even the right person requires effort. Without daily attention, love weakens. With daily intention, love becomes unshakable. So understand this: love is not sustained by how deeply you feel in a single moment, but by how consistently you choose to honor the bond you share. And if you want a love that lasts, you must wake up each day ready to choose it again. Because at the end of it all, lasting love is not a miracle, it is a discipline, and discipline is the highest form of devotion.